Here we are, the mighty Tyne. This river, 20 years ago, was dead. It runs through Newcastle, out into Tyne mouth, and starts way up in the hills in the Pennines. It's a big, big river, as you can see. Well, down there fishing is my mate Chris Tarrant, who's as keen as mustard and as mad as most fishermen. But believe me, it's windy, it's gusting, but it's great water, it's a good height. Who knows what's in store for us? Liam's with him, my son, who has been brought up on this river, knows it as well as anybody. If those two can't get a fish, well, I'll be surprised. We've got a lot of river to fish here at Stiford. We go all the way up on Mr. Dickinson's land, and we've got about 2 miles of it. It's wonderful fishing, it's a great river. I hope you enjoy it as much as we do.
Liam and I have fished this stretch for over 10 years. It's practically our home water and we try to fish here as often as possible. As it's Chris's first visit to the Tyne, Liam kindly, if not foolishly, offers to be his gilly.
Thank you, my man. There's a shiny shilling in it for you.
Very good. We're very lucky to have the rod every Wednesday here. The season starts in February and goes right through to the end of October, so it's a fair long stretch of fishing time. We've had a very good year this year simply because I think we've had the water right through the summer. We had a good spring. The autumn, as you can see, it's okay, but we're hoping for a few big fish towards the end. But today I'm using a 15-foot salmon rod with an intermediate line. I'm using a tube fly with a copper head, so it just moves a bit in the water. I found them very successful over the, especially in big waters. It's like anything, every fisherman has his favourite fly, and I'm a big shrimp man. My dad's a silver stoats man, he likes silver stoat. Everybody's got the choices. People like black and yellow tubes for back end, or silver doctors and those sort of thing for the spring season. It's just, everybody's got their preference, but with me it's alley shrimps or something with a bit of red and black in.
Armed with the stoat's tail and alley shrimp, we fish our way through the upper beat and disappointingly don't even get a pull. Although Chris is a keen salmon angler, he is also a very accomplished all-rounder and was introduced to angling at a very young age.
I started fishing when I was 4, and my dear old granddad took me on the River Thames, just outside Reading, and it was like, this is fantastic, and I've just been literal. I mean, the old sort of cliche hook for life, but I really have ever since, and I've just always fished. I've always, through like school days, student days, working days, busy days, good periods of my life, bad periods, divorce, whatever. There's always been fishing, and I can't imagine my life without it. I can't imagine. It just motivates an awful lot of my thinking. My spare time is like about going fishing. When I was really ridiculously busy, when I was sort of doing radio shows in the morning and TV shows at night and all that, I would still always find time for fishing. One morning, I caught a 36-pound carp before I went to Capital Radio, and it was the best show I ever did till about 20 past 7, and then I just sort of completely crashed. But I've just always done it. It's always been an essential part of my life.
Fishing is also essential to many a Tyneside angler, and has been for hundreds of years. But although the salmon are plentiful today, it wasn't that long ago that they were virtually wiped out.
The Tyne River fishing, as far as records could show, was almost devastated by the industrialisation of the River Tyne. However, even at the worst times, there was still a small percentage of fish that managed to come through, which continued to allow the salmon to actually exist in this river system. Since the changes of the river, and the industry is all but a good percentage of it has gone away, and the fact that the sewerage systems have been changed throughout the whole of the Tyneside conurbation, it has meant that salmon have had a good chance of recovering in their own natural way, but this has also been complemented by the hatchery up at Kielder. On the river system, there is known by many anglers what one can only describe as a classic Tyne salmon. and that is a small-headed fish with a high shoulder and a stocky body. When one gets a hold of something like that, you know about it. A hard, fighting fish. Very, very tough, strong fish for their size. So you can actually tell what a real Tyne fish genuinely looks like. And I've been privileged in the past to have catch more than one or two. This river is quite hard. There is a hardness to it. Maybe it's me, but maybe I just think it is a lot indicative of the Geordie character as a part kindness, part toughness. You have to earn your fish on this river. I certainly have always felt I've had to earn my fish out of the river. Nothing is given in this river.
It's not only Andy who has to earn his fish. As the morning drifts into afternoon, Chris and Liam still haven't hooked up. But at least I was making an effort.
Is that the biggest fish you've had on the show yet?
Not far off.
You've snapped like a twig, Botham.
I've had one. Monster.
Yeah, I saw it.
A monster. I had a pull up there as well, but again, it might have been trout.
Did you have a tug up there?
Yeah, but
Liam
it might have
thought
been.
you did.
It might have been trout.
Here comes your idiot son, the runt of the litter.
Do you want to tell him that?
Funny that.
Funny that, isn't it?
We're just saying how well you were fishing.
What?
I'm not saying what you said.
Nah.
He's never very quiet, Chris. He's always, apart from you trying to get him up in the mornings, he's a nightmare. But for a guy that used to get up at 4 o'clock every morning for 17 years to do his show, I think he's actually catching up on that sleep now. But yeah, he never stops, does he? He's 100 miles an hour all the time.
One game.
Have you not got a fish yet?
Couple of top edges. Australia's half asleep.
I think all my mates extract the Michael, shall we say, out of each other. It's all fun. It's part of the banter. It's part of the competitiveness, because we're all competitive. And there's always that underlying, how many fish have we got? Oh, it's one each, right, tomorrow. You know, when we fished with Eric, it was 6-5. You know, can I get another one? There's always that competitive edge. And that's what drives us on. I think that's why we have all been reasonably successful in what we do.
There is this thing with Ian when we always tease him about, one game change your life and all that. But it is sort. I mean, of course, he was a great athlete for a very long time, and he did all sorts of tremendous performances and huge amount of wickets and amazing number of runs. But the famous Headingley Test is the one that everybody remembers. And I mean, to most of us who sort of spend a lot of our time socially with both of them, it just seems to be like since then everything's gone right for him. This one amazing day, and basically since Headingley, which is what, 1981 or whatever, he's never ever ever opened his wallet since.
Being famous for one game is slightly more impressive than building your whole career around one joke, a silly laugh and pouring custard over kids' heads. With the banter aside, the day was proving to be tough going. But after wading 2 miles in the cold waters of the Tyne, Chris was finally rewarded.
It's still strong, this fish. Look at this.
Very strong.
It's strong, isn't it?
Yes. A bit frustrating today, not knowing why, but anyway.
I enjoy my fly fishing. I do love salmon fishing. I've salmon fished in Alaska, I've salmon fished in Russia, I've salmon fished in Norway a lot, and in Scotland a lot. I go up every year on the Tweed, and it's extraordinarily satisfying. It is hard though. It's hard fishing. If you're pike fishing or you're carp fishing and it's slow and whatever, you can just sort of stick the rod out and have a smoke or have a drink or whatever, and you still will, you can catch. If you're salmon fishing, you just have to keep casting.
Whoa, I think once you get them in this time, we'll get them out. Well, enough bugging around with this one.
Yeah, we're playing the current as much as the fish are.
Yeah, it's just holding. It's just using his, using the current, isn't he?
Yeah.
Using it well as well, a bit of experience.
That's it. Turn him around.
I can't just get that extra Steady on, Ian, baby.
Yeah, well done.
Woo-ha! Woo, woo, woo!
That's a good fish.
That's a good fish.
Yeah, well done.
Yes!
Take him to the bank and we'll let the bugger go.
Well done, mate.
Good man.
So you're going back in a minute, pal.
Yeah, you're going back. I mean, to me, it's all about the take. It's that, because sometimes, we're like now here, you think there is nothing here at all. There is nothing beneath the surface. It is dead as a dodo. And when suddenly that thing comes up, you think, God, they really were here all the time, and I really wasn't fishing that badly. It's that moment that suddenly, you know, makes it all, you know, worthwhile, but also makes sense of it. Because otherwise, there's very little sense otherwise in any of it. It's a very weird way to spend our time.
Okay. Got it. There we go.
There you go, Chris. You want to hold him? Put him back.
Yeah.
Your baby.
What do you reckon? 14 pounds, something like that?
Yeah,
All right. He's in mid-teens, I reckon.
Nice fish, isn't it?
Oh!
Go on. Oh.
There you go. Just let him revive. He's pretty lively. Liam, friends of ours in the village when he was a kid, used to take him trout fishing, and that's he started. He was a bit young, and you couldn't take him away for a week. He was at school and all that kind of thing. And then he started to get into it, and then he's really fished a lot of his time. We enjoy fishing together. We enjoy the time together. Again, it's competitive. He's a very good all-round sportsman in game sports and fishing, shooting. He rears his dogs, his game dogs. He rears pheasants and partridge. He's very much a country lad, and he enjoys the countryside. He understands the countryside, and he does a lot to protect the countryside.
He's always let me do well since I can remember. Whatever we did, if it was kicking a ball around the garden to anything, he'd let me do well. He never let me win. So it's always nice now to get one over on him, which I'm doing fairly regularly now. As you see, he won't let me get in there just in case I catch one.
Liam's his own man. He could have very easily sat on the back of what I did in cricket and probably played cricket, but he wasn't happy with that, and he wanted to set his own standards. I remember the first time he got 5 wickets in a game for Hampshire, and the headlines were "Chip off the old block, son of," and I felt sorry for him, and I think it frustrated him a little bit, and that's also, he felt he was a better rugby player, so he went to rugby, and he's now just signed a new contract with the best rugby league side arguably in the country, and he sets his standards high, and he will give it every chance. He trains religiously, he sticks to, just like I used to. He does all those hard things, but he trains very, very hard, and he's supremely fit. Excellent. You just take him to the bank here and release it.
Yeah.
Quite fresh, actually. There we go.
Nice fish, isn't it?
Nice. First cast in the pool.
Really?
Absolutely. I fished the top little bit there. Sometimes you get something up around there. There he is. All right.
Nice fish.
Put him back.
Oh yeah.
Good man.
Well done, thanks, pal.
What a team.
Anyway, lads, this is my pull tier.
Yeah.
No, I've had one cast in it, honestly, and that was back up here, by the stone, out there, bang.
One cast certainly wasn't our last. We fished on well after sunset, but unfortunately, the Silver Tourist didn't make another appearance.
Not a bad day.
That was great, wasn't it?
Eh?
Quite hard, but
Well,
yeah.
actually, do you know, the hours we've put in,
Yeah.
it's been hard, and mind, there's only one person who hasn't caught one, and he's still out there. But no, it's been great. But we put a marker in, so we know the levels. Forecast is pretty good, but might be a bit windy tomorrow. Oh, I'm quite excited. Should drop.
I'll tell you what,
another fish.
genuinely, I had no idea how beautiful the Tyne Valley was. It's fantastic.
It is a fantastic river, isn't
Absolutely
it?
stunning.
Yeah, and it's amazing how many people come here and they've never seen it, and you think immediately Tyne, industry.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, industry, industrial areas, but this is gorgeous.
Absolutely
It's a hidden gem.
It is a hidden
So,
gem.
should we have a small one?
We'd have a large one, actually,
All right, fine.
seeing as you're paying.
Excuse me. As I recall, someone made a statement when his net.
Yes, I was crazed. I was on a high. It meant nothing.
Day 2 on the Tyne. Well, we had a pretty good day yesterday. It was hard fishing. The river has actually just risen a little bit overnight. We had quite a lot of rain, not as bad as down in the south, and it's up about an inch, but it's steady and holding, and there's a little bit of colour, so we'll use something a bit lighter and more gory, see if we can attract something this morning. Chris is already going in. He's going in with Gilbert, a good friend of mine who also knows the river very well. Liam, of course, was with us yesterday, but he's had enough of us. He said, right, I've had enough of you two. So Gilbert's here. Beautiful river, isn't it? Well, I'm not going to catch fish stood here. I'm going to go downstream, let those boys start up there.
I'm very passionate about my salmon fishing, particularly here on the Tyne, and I share that passion with many a Tyneside angler of the past. In 1820, Robert Nichol wrote, "The Angler's Delight." When the sunbeams are bright in the far eastern sky, the angler departs with rod, line and fly. Of the vice of the town nor its folly he dreams, for his soul is wrapped up in the sport of the streams. A lunch in his pocket, a creel on his back. Up Tyneside he wanders, near minding the track. Though coloured the water and cloudy the sky, his mind's full of hope when he puts out the fly. Mr. Nichol's words do capture the passion of a Tyneside angler, and it's great that today the fish stocks are back and hopefully, in time, the memory of the river's polluted waters will be forgotten. Also contributing to the salmon recovery is catch and release, and it's certainly something that Chris and I champion.
When I used to go salmon fishing first up in the north of Scotland, I used to go to the same hotel. I've been going to it for about 20 years now. And you'd walk in after a good day and there would be dead salmon all over the floor as you walked in with people's names on, and it's, well done everybody. And you just don't see that now. 95% now of salmon are returned, you know. And I think that's good. I think we have to learn those lessons a bit quick, you know. I mean, I've got a picture somewhere, and it's the same sort of thinking. I've got a picture somewhere of this guy called Colonel Cobbett in the 1920s. I think it's a National Geographical magazine thing. And the caption is, "A good morning for Colonel Jim." And Colonel Jim is standing there with his gun in his hand in his sort of pith helmet, surrounded by these sort of Indian guys with him. And there's just dead tigers all over the lawn. And well done, Jim. You know, and you think, that's not Jim's fault, whoever Jim was, it's not Jim's fault. It's just, you know, it's an education thing. And that's happened with salmon as well. I mean, people just don't go around banging salmon on the head now. I probably take 1 or 2 salmon a year, you know, maximum. And you don't need them. If somebody said to me, you never again need to, you know, kill any salmon or any trout, I'd be fine. You know, I'd carry on fishing and be quite happy.
Salmon and trout anglers for many years have developed fly patterns that are synonymous with an individual river, and the Tyne is no exception.
On the river, there was in the 1800s a lot of flies that seemed to have a good proportion of yellow in them, with the option of a change pattern being red or claret. Then, as it moved into the 1900s, Chater in particular had designed his own patterns, which were still had a little bit of yellow in, but he started to use silver-bodied flies and claret flies as well. And then as we move on to the late 1900s, we see more modern hairwing patterns such as willy gun and stoat's tail. I've found the fly size seems to have changed dramatically. Certainly when one looks in terms of what I was using 12 years ago in relation to what I use today. I'll just take out these 2 patterns for example. That is what I fished with 12 years ago, and that's what I used this morning. And I wonder whether this has got a lot to do with really what salmon are feeding with naturally out at sea. The fact is that as a size doesn't seem to ring the bell for the fish, whereas that size and smaller certainly works. And this is the case for many, many salmon fishers on the river.
Today, size doesn't seem to matter. Without so much as a pull all morning, we take a well-earned rest from the fishing.
When I first met Ian, he was very untypically propped against a bar, actually. In fact, he was lying all over it. I thought he seems a nice boy. And I mean, I obviously knew him because he's like a cricketing hero. And we just got chatting and stuff, and just about fishing somehow, you know. And then we met on the Tweed, and I fished with him quite a lot on the last few autumns. I fished with him quite a few times up on the Tweed. He's a very lucky angler. He's not actually very skillful. There's a lot of, you know, brawn but not a lot of brain. He just thrashes the water to a foam mainly. I mean, I think a lot of the time I think sometimes the salmon just give up. You know, I think they feel deeply sorry for him.
After putting up with Chris's wit, or should I say lack of it, and frustrated with the lack of fish being caught, I went further down the beat to prove that it was the rise in the river and not my casting that was affecting the fishing.
This is the weir, riding mill, just down, the end of the beat is just round the corner there. And what's happened is Kielder Dam have let off a lot of water, and I think there might be some coming in from the South Tyne as well, but it's risen a lot in the last couple of hours. And there's a fish right at my feet just trying to get up. And what happens, just to give you an idea how many fish are in this river, and a lot of the ones you'll see in it jumping up here are fresh run sea trout. Now it's what, the 3rd of October, and fresh run sea trout trying to get up here. There's salmon, big salmon there below me trying to get up, and there's plenty of fish here, and it just shows you what a remarkable job they've done with the Tyne. Just look at the amount of fish here, and that makes it even more frustrating. We've only had 2, but there's probably 2,000 or 3,000 lying here. It's absolutely amazing. Quite fascinating. You can't fish at them. Well, I can fish. Gilbert's having a go down below, but it's risen quite a lot. The colder water from the dam has cooled everything down, tends to put the fish down. But now, here they go, trying to get up. And it's quite amazing to watch, quite fascinating.
The rising water level really did ruin our fishing, and reluctantly, we decided it was time to call it a day.
Well, I have to say, Chris, I think that's the second blank day I've ever had on the Tyne.
Really? It's tough, isn't it?
Weird, it's been hard work, but the river's been up and down.
Yeah.
No real explanation apart from maybe the water off the dam.
So they keep mucking about with the level, because it is noticeable, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's almost back to where it was this morning now with the markers.
Yeah.
So, well, I hope you
Suddenly it would
enjoyed
come
it.
up. I thoroughly enjoyed it, actually. I've really had a good time.
Well, I hope
It's
you'll
a
come back.
stunning river.
Yeah, just a little something for you as a little memento from presented to Chris Tarrant from the Donegal Fly Fishing
How
Company
nice.
and Ian Botham on fishing the River Tyne.
Oh, bless you guys.
And
Cool.
just a few there for you to...
Just a few.
well, we'll test them out on the Tweed
Yeah,
in a couple of weeks' time.
I've
Pleasure,
really
mate.
enjoyed it. I've really enjoyed it,
Good.
Blakey.
It's been great
Good
fun.
man.
It's been great fun.
A few more fish would have been nice, but it's been a great trip.
Well, next time maybe.